Hi everyone, myself M. Dilip Kumar, Assistant Professor, Department of CSC, Computer Science Engineering, St. Martin's Engineering College. Today we will discuss Java OOPS concepts. First of all, what is OOPS concepts? What is OOPS? What is OOPS? OOPS is a object-oriented programming system. What is Java? OOPS concepts means what is OOPS or OOP? You have to object oriented programming system. Okay, what is object? Here OOPS concepts are six. What is six concepts is object, class, inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction and encapsulation. What is object and what is class? What is encapsulation? What is abstraction? What is inheritance? What is polymorphism? We will discuss today's topic. What is object? An object in Java is a basic unit of object-oriented programming, represents real life entities. For example, object is a pen, chair, table, a chalk piece, fan. These are all real-time objects. Okay, and objects are the instances of a class that are created to use the attributes and methods of a class. And also a typical Java program creates a many objects which, as you know, interact by invoking methods. And also object oriented programming aims to implement real world entities like inheritance, hiding, polymorphism, etc. And also the main aim of OOPS, object oriented programming system, is to bind together the data and the functions that can access the data except that function, and also programming paradigms available in our market. What is the programming paradigms available in the market? These are the two types of paradigms. First one is imperative paradigm and also declarative programming or paradigm. In that one, first one is procedural programming and structural programming and object-oriented programming. And also declarative programming is what to do here: functional programming, logic programming, database programming. Here once again we have to discuss programming paradigm is approach to solve problem using the programming language. What is programming paradigm? Here two types of programming paradigm: imperative programming, how to do, and also declarative programming, what to do. Here we have three types of imperative programming: procedural programming, structural programming, object-oriented programming. Here declarative programming, two types. It is what to do, functional programming, logic programming, and also database programming. Is Java object-oriented or object-based programming language? We have to discuss programming language that follows OOPS. What is the OOPS programming language? Java, C++, C#, Python, Similar. These are the programming languages that follows OOPS concepts. Okay, next one is what is class, what is object, what is encapsulation, what is inheritance, what is polymorphism, what is abstraction. These are the six concepts of OOPS. And also, what is encapsulation? What is encapsulation? Encapsulation is a mechanism of wrapping the data. Data is here variables and code acting on the data methods together as a single unit. For example, in our college, SMEC or St. Martin's Engineering College, this is a autonomous college. For example, this is a autonomous college, JNTU autonomous college. For example, JNTU Hyderabad is a main college, main university of this college. In this college, these are the one of the autonomous college, and also JNTU affiliated colleges are the some of the affiliated colleges is there. For example, JNTU is the main. These are the JNTU affiliated colleges are autonomous colleges are the in this unit. Okay. For example, what is encapsulation? Encapsulation is a mechanism of wrapping the data. Those are the variables encoded in the data methods together as a single unit. For example, JNTU is university. In that one, having two types of colleges is there, autonomous college and JDH affiliated colleges. For example, encapsulation describes ability of an object to hide its data and methods from the rest of the world. Next one is, this is the example program of the encapsulation. For example, public class student. Here individual is a data type, roll number, and string is a data type, non-primitive data type, name, and boolean is a true or false. It is a primitive data type. Is attended. For example, public student in roll number. This dot roll number equal to roll number. And also for public void set student attendance and boolean flag. Is attendance equal to flag. System dot out of println. This is the printing the student attendance. Teaching assign the attendance. And also public boolean means boolean is here false or true or false. Get student attendance. Here system dot out of println. Then given the is attendance will be output. For example, here public is access specifier and class is the non-primitive data and student is the here class name. Then this is the public class teacher, which is the name class name, and public is the access modifier or access specifier. And here we have public static void main string arg is the main method. Here we have student is equal to new parameter. He is the new parameter, and student is the not one his number. And as that set student attendance true. For example, here true means boolean method we have to use, and as that get student attendance. Close the program. This is the encapsulation example program of the encapsulation. Next one is, what is abstraction? Next concept is abstraction. What is abstraction? Abstraction is a process of hiding the implementation of details and hiding the abstraction is a process of hiding the implementation details and showing the only functionality to the user. For example, ATM is the one of the example of the abstraction. For example, ATM we have to draw the money. These are the we have card insert and draw the money. What is the, actually behind the scenes? What is the process? We don't know. Actually, we have to insert the data. Then we have to data will be there, and also save like that messages and also voice messages also or mobile operating also. One of the we don't have any behind the scenes. We have only call and process of the mobile calls. There are also messages also. Same like that, hiding the main things, hiding the main data only, showing and the remaining data other hiding the scenes will be not occurred. Abstraction is a process of hiding the implementation details and showing the only main functionality of the user. Then also here agenda is the what is abstraction, how can we achieve the abstraction in Java, then implementation of abstraction. What is the abstraction? Here the example program of the abstraction. We have public interface laptop, public void copy method. These are the copy methods, public void paste method, public void cut method, and also public void keyboard method. Then public abstract class name is sample A. Here implements laptop, public void copy method, and also system.out.println Lenovo copy code. Then also public void paste method. Here we have to print the system.out.println Lenovo paste code. Then what is the inheritance? Inheritance is the mechanism in which one class acquires all the properties and behaviors of the another class with the specific relationship. What is the inheritance? For example, we have what is inheritance? Here inherit means acquiring the data. For example, inheritance is the mechanism in which one class acquires all the properties and behaviors of the another class. For example, we have here main thing is parent class and child class. Relationship between the parent class to child class. Relationship between the parent class to child class. Inheritance is a mechanism in one class acquires all the properties properties and behaviors of the another class with the specific relationship. What is the main advantage of inheritance is the reusability. Code reusability is the one of the main example of the one of the main advantage of the inheritance. What is the agenda of the inheritance is the what is inheritance, types of inheritance, and implementation of inheritance with classes and implementation of inheritance with interfaces. Super keyboard. What is the types of the inheritance is single inheritance, multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, hybrid inheritance. What is single inheritance? What is single inheritance? Here, for example, employee is the superclass and executive is the subclass. For example, here employee means here A and here B. We have this is the superclass or parent class and this is the derived class or base class. For example, this is the here from employee to executive. Employee to executive. Here inherit is the employee to executive. This is the single inheritance. For example, this is the superclass and this is the subclass or this is the base class. This is the derived class. Then this is the multi-level inheritance example. For example, student is a superclass, marks is a subclass or intermediate base class or sports derived class. These are the multi-level inheritance. Multi-level inheritance. Then also this is the hierarchical inheritance. In number of classes are derived from a single base class. It is called hierarchical inheritance. For example, here parent class is the student. Then here class A, class B, class C. Class A means science, class B means commerce, class C means arts. Extending from the parent class to child class or subclass or derived class. These are the example of the hierarchical inheritance. For example, this is the superclass or parent class. From this one, we have extended from this one science. For example, class A, class B, class C or science, commerce, arts. These are the subclasses from the extended from the parent class. This is the hierarchical inheritance. Then this is the hybrid inheritance. For example, grandfather. This is the grandfather. Here parent. Then also here from father. Then here from child classes to child classes. For example, here the grandfather to father. Then subclass is subchild class is son and daughter. Inherit from father. This is the single inheritance. This is the single inheritance. Next one. This is the hierarchical inheritance. This is the hybrid inheritance. This is the hybrid inheritance. Here we have another inheritance is there. Another type is there. That is the multiple inheritance. Multiple inheritance. This is not Java is not supported multiple inheritance. Java is not supported to multiple inheritance. Why? Because of that this is a complexity of inheritance. That's why Java is not supported to multiple inheritance. And also Vora means write once, run anywhere in the Java. This is one of the main advantage of the Java. Write once, run anywhere. For example, we have written Windows, we have executed many of another operating system. For example, Unix, then Unix and Linux, then etc. We have multiple operating systems we have to use. These are the single, multiple, multi-level, hierarchical and hybrid inheritance. These are the single inheritance, hierarchical, hybrid. This is the examples of the inheritance. This is the hybrid inheritance. For example, we have to For example, by using interface and by using the classes multiple inheritance is not possible. For example, public class admin extends is the inheritance keyword. Extends is the inheritance keyword. For example, developer guest. For example, here adding or deleting the products application. Public void manage method. System.out.println manage code. Next, by using interface multiple inheritance is possible. For example, this is the keyword. Extends is the keyword of the inheritance. Public interface I admin extends, I guest, I developer, public void manage method. Then we have here public class developer extends guest, then public void read method, then system.out.println read code. For example, here public void write method also we have here. We have to use system.out.println write code method. Okay. Then what is polymorphism? What is polymorphism is the ability of an object to take many forms. Then different types of polymorphism is compiler time polymorphism, runtime polymorphism. Then runtime polymorphism is a type of polymorphism which can be achieved at Java runtime or execution time. Then runtime polymorphism is a type of polymorphism can be achieved at a Java time. It is also referred as dynamic polymorphism, dynamic method dispatch. Runtime polymorphism can be achieved as method overriding concept in Java. Here actually method overriding and method overloading and method overriding concepts in polymorphism. For example, public class Lenovo action is the keyword and sample AC. For example, override the method. Then public void cut method. Here we have to use cut method to print. Then override. Then public void keyword method. Then system.out.println keyboard code. Then we have to use public void copy method. Print is system.out.println Lenovo updated copy is the output. Then compile time polymorphism. Public class calculations is the class name. Then we have to use public void add method. Add method is int a and int b. Int means here primitive data int a and int b. This is the add method code. Then public void add method. Here add int a and int b and int c also we have to three objects we have to create add method code. Then we have to structure programming. What is structured programming? Structured programming is a name suggests is a technique that is the considered as proposal to OOP and usually consists of well structured and separated modules. In this program, user can create its own user defined functions as well as this methodology tries to resolve issues that associate with unconditional transfers to allow programmers follow logic of programs. It also requires more discipline at the design and logic structuring stage. For example, Pascal, Argol, C, Modular 2. These are the examples of the structured programming. Here, object-oriented programming. OOPS is a programming language. Everything is represented as an object. Is known as a pure object-oriented programming language. Then, which can contain the form of fields, attributes, or properties. And also, here code in the form of procedures. That is the methods and functions. And also, objects have both data and functions. Here, objects of the same class have the same data elements and functions. Same data and same elements of the functions. Then, this is the example. This is the diagrammatic representation of the object-oriented programming. For example, object 1 is data and function. Then object 2 is data and function. Then object 3 is data and function. These are the diagrammatic representation of the object-oriented programming. Then, what is basic terminology of the object-oriented programming? OOPS. Basic terminology of the OOPS. Object. It is a real world entity, usually a person, place, or thing, or chalk piece, or pen, or chair, or mobile. These are the all are the objects only. Then attribute data description of objects in a class is functions, and also a function performed by an object. This is a verb, and also class is a collection of the objects, and also it is a logical entity. Then why oops means why object oriented programming system is save development time and cost by reusing code once an object class is created. It can be used in other applications. For example, here inheritance is the one of the code reusability. One of the code reusability of the applications. Applications of the inheritance is one of the code reusability. For example, it is a easier debugging. And class can be tested independently. Then reused objects have already been tested. Then design principles of the OOPS. This is the design principles of the OOPS. For example, here OOPS object programming system. Here abstraction, encapsulation, polymorphism, inheritance, class, object. Then wrapping up the here encapsulation is the wrapping up of the data under single unit. It is the mechanism that binds together the code and the data manipulation. For example, encapsulation. For example, in the actually tablet or capsule is there. Here capsule means compulsory. We have combination of the tablets. For example, also known as the data hiding. Here only other methods can modify information to the object. For example, automation we have already discussed. Then abstraction is adding the internal implementation and showing the functionality only to the user is known as abstraction. For example, abstraction is the main functionality of the main highlights of the user. Or to design, produce and discuss the it can be easily used without knowing the details of the how it works. Example, phone call conversation. We don't know the internal process of the phone call conversation. Behind the scenes, we don't know. Then here, then also here, this is the terminology and design principles of the OOP and encapsulation, abstraction, then polymorphism. This is the example program of the polymorphism to convince the customer differently to draw something. For example, shape, triangle, rectangle, or etc. Two types of polymorphism: method overloading and method overriding. Here, method overloading is more than one functionality. Share the same name with different parameters is a class. The return type of these methods cannot be same. This is known as compile type polymorphism or method overloading. Then and also inheritance, which one class is allowed to inheritance, the features, fields, methods of another class. Types of inheritance is the single, multiple, hybrid, multi-level, and also hierarchical. This is the single inheritance of the. For example, A and B. Here we have to extend A. Here the extends the parent class to child class. Parent class to child class. Then we have to use. For example, we have to use sample program. We have to use sample program. For example, single inheritance. Single inheritance class A, class B. For example, this is the extends keyword. This is the extends keyword for single inheritance. What is inheritance means? Acquiring the parent properties to child properties. For example, just example is relationship parent to child. This is the example, small diagrammatic representation of the single inheritance. Then multiple inheritance. Multiple inheritance. Class A, class B, C. This is the extends from multiple parents or multiple parent classes. This is the multiple inheritance. Then also multi-level inheritance. Multi-level inheritance. For example, multi-level inheritance is class A, class B, class C.
నా కట్ అంతే ఉండు వీడియో కంటిన్యూ చేస్తున్నా. నువ్వేం చేస్తావంటే పేజ్ యాడ్ చేసుకో, అక్కడ యాడ్ అని ఉంటుంది. నేను చెప్పినప్పుడు యాడ్ చేసుకొని మల్టిపుల్ చెప్పి 3 minutes టైం ఉంది. 3 minutesలో యాడ్ చేసుకొని చెప్పేసి అల్టిమేట్ ఏదో ఉందంటున్నారు అది చెప్పేసి వీడియోకి వెళ్ళిపోయి ఇంకా 3 minutes టైం ఉంది.
యాడ్ చేసిన
తర్వాత ఇప్పుడు అది చెప్తున్నావు కదా నువ్వేదో ఆ టాపిక్ ఏదో గీసావు ఇక్కడ అల్లో కొంచెం నీట్గా రాయి. ఆ టాపిక్ ఏదో గీసావు ఇప్పుడు 3 బొమ్మలు అది అక్కడ గీసి వీడియోకి వెళ్ళిపో డైరెక్ట్. నన్ను చూస్తుండు 3 minutes ఉంది టైం నీకు. రెడీ, స్టార్ట్.
So here we have to multi-level inheritance. Multi-level inheritance. For example, class A here, class A, class B, class C, class this is the multi-level inheritance. This is the multi-level inheritance A, B, C. Here class A, class B, class C extends from parent class to child class and extends from B to A, extends from C to A, extends from then also
ఒక నిమిషం కట్ ఏమైతుందో స్క్రీన్ అలా వస్తుంది. సరే రెడీ, మళ్ళీ ఇన్హాన్స్ ఉంది కదా దాని నుంచి రెడీ గో.
Multi-level inheritance is this is the multi-level inheritance diagrammatic representation. Extends from C to B, B to A, class C to class B, and class B to class A. Here another example of the hierarchical inheritance. For example, vehicle. In vehicle, actually subclass and superclass to subclass. Here automobile, motorcycle, bus. Actually here automobile is sedan and sports car and motorcycle. Then also here bus is the luxury bus and school bus. These are the parent class to child class, base class, auto derived class. What are properties does each vehicle inherit from the types? Then our vehicles have in the above example of the hierarchical inheritance. Then we have to go. This is the multiple inheritance. This is the not support to Java. Here we have to C and B and A. Here actually from C we have to extend from A and B. This is the multiple inheritance is the not support to the Java. Java is Vora. Vora is the one of the advantage of Java. Vora means write once, run anywhere. Here once we have to write in the code, we have to execute anywhere in the any operating system we have to execute. This is the multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance and single inheritance and hierarchical inheritance and hybrid inheritance. Let us show the video of the
డబుల్ ట్యాప్ ఫుల్ స్క్రీన్.
this is the video of the OOPS concepts. For example, we have to use abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance and polymorphism. These are the four types. This is the object, for example, car. These are all of the books, pen. These are all of the objects of the OOPS concept. Then abstraction. Here we have to see. Here encapsulation, object and class person. Here actually properties, first name, last name, gender, date of birth, occupation, operation, pay, wages, book holiday, appreciation, promotion, save details, and then this is the person, first name, last name, date of birth, and employee. Then also abstraction to simplify the reality and focus only the data and process relevant the application being built, and encapsulation data and the programs that manipulate those data are bound together and the complexity is hidden. Inheritance: a class can derive methods and properties from another class, resulting in a hierarchy of classes. These are the abstraction, encapsulation, and also inheritance types: single, multiple, multi-level. Then hierarchical. Here the main concept of the OOPS concepts. Thank you so much.